Hello guys and welcome to The Mole. This is essentially the Traitors, but we do not know who the traitor is. It is a very unique show. It was on way back in the early noughties and they brought it back in 2022, but it's back for a second series and I cannot tell you how good this show is. You just have to watch it. As you can see, it is a Netflix series, so you can watch it anywhere in the world, and it is fascinating. You have 12 people, one of them is a mole. Their job is to sabotage the team and make sure that they do not get any money at the end of the competition. Meanwhile, the rest of the players have to compete for the money, and they also have to take part in a quiz every night to determine who they think the mole is. There'll be questions like, does the mole have brown hair? Yes or no? Was the mole in this group for the challenge? Yes or no? And then whoever has the least amount of correct answers leaves the game. So, essentially, this is one massive social deception game with a lot of money on the line. Before we jump into the episode, I just want to say thank you guys very much for watching, and I also want to just mention the memberships one more time. We are launching a membership for the channel. It is £3. You can join by pressing the join button on any video or on the channel itself. It is totally optional, but there are perks to it, such as extra content, looking at bloopers and cut content from different reaction videos. Those reaction videos are an hour and a half long and they trim down to about half an hour. So there's a lot of stuff that gets left on the cutting room floor, but I decided to compile them into videos from now on and put them up for the people who want to join as members. So if that is something that interests you, please join the Ranters, and yeah, I will see you guys in the episode now. So, what is the aim of this game? Well, the aim of this game is to work out who the mole is, get to the end, and basically rat them out. There is no way to get rid of the mole at any point during this competition. Unlike the Traitors, where you can vote them out, the mole is going to be in every single episode, trying to sabotage every single challenge. And I think that's something that's absolutely fascinating about this show. Me and my friend have been watching this show. I've got her thoughts, I've got my thoughts, and I'm basically going to be doing a little bit of a pinboard with the little connections, trying to work out what's making people look suspicious, what's making people look innocent, who could potentially be the mole, and I am determined to work it out before the end of the series. I managed to work it out about episode 5 in the last series, and then started picking up on subtle things after that, but I'm determined to get it before the end when they reveal it. So join me on this journey. Let's jump straight in. So the first challenge for the 12 people was essentially a game of paintball. They have insane challenges on this show. Like, when I tell you, they are always high stakes, they are always high energy, and they are always very entertaining to watch. And remember, these challenges are so important to watch, because that is when the sabotaging happens. That's when the mole is trying to prevent the team from making any money. So you might be wondering, what is this paintball game he's talking about? Well, they introduced 5 intruders. These intruders, if they got to the end of the paintball course unharmed and made it to the car, then they would take the place of one of the 12, essentially, meaning that they were put into the game. I thought this was a great twist out of the gate. It was very interesting, but obviously they had to pick a team leader, because the team leader was the person who would end up being replaced if someone did make it to the car. So that was their first challenge. Basically, pick a team leader and you get £10,000 added to the cash pot. It's actually dollars, but you know what I mean. If you don't do it in that time, then we will not give you the money and we will assign someone at random. So obviously, instantly, people are like, well, I don't want to be the first person out. If they do make it and we fail this challenge, I don't want to be the first person out. So essentially, everyone went round and voted for who they wanted to be put forward for this. and Niche was the one who got chosen. Interesting choice, I gotta say. He says he's a natural born leader. He's showing a lot of leaderistic characteristics. That was not the word I wanted to use, but we get the point. So I feel like this is going to be a really interesting choice because he gets to divvy the teams up, choose who goes where, and also take part in the competition in order to save his own skin. But his place in the competition is basically riding on everybody else doing their jobs properly. And as we know, there is a mole, and they are there to stop him. So there were 3 separate areas. There was Slingshot, there was Sniper, and then there was just paintball guns. Each one was essentially a little bit chaotic and a little bit crazy. The Slingshot people contained Hannah, Q, Muna, and Sean. They absolutely stunk the gaff up. They were so bad at this. They allowed all 5 intruders who were, let's be honest, they were chained up and they had to find a combination code in order to unlock themselves. They all bum rushed at the same time, and the slingshots were just not firing correctly. They weren't going in the right place. Nobody got hit. So immediately after the first set of defenses, all of the intruders are still alive. They're still fine. So could there have been a little bit of manipulation there? Could there have been some sabotage there? I don't think so. I don't think this is where the sabotage lay. And I think that's because the slingshots were difficult to aim. It was a little bit chaotic. I don't think I would have fared any better than them. I think the issue was they weren't reloading quick enough. But then again, it's a difficult situation to be in. It's not as easy as just firing a paintball gun. The second section was a sniper gun. This was potentially the easiest one to shoot, but also you had someone lying on like a cardboard pallet, and then 3 other people were like lifting him up, down, side in order to get the right target. So essentially there was 4 people. Andy was on sniper. That's the old guy, in case I haven't put the right pictures up there. Then we've also got, oh god, who was it? It was Melissa, Michael, and Tony. Those 3 were also maneuvering the pallet in order to get Andy to aim properly. There was a lot of issues in this team, like a lot of issues. Andy managed to get 1 person, and then all of a sudden it was as if either he couldn't aim or the other 3 just couldn't get in a good enough position in order to get him to aim. That was the issue here. And so I feel like there was a little bit of something dodgy going on here. I was a little bit sus on Michael and Tony because it seemed like they were just slipping and sliding in the mud when it felt like they were doing that on purpose, potentially. I don't know. There was just a little bit of suspicion around those 2. But I also think that potentially Andy could have been missing those bullets or missing those shots when he got the first one to be like, oh yeah, I did shoot, and then like didn't manage to get the rest of them. Does that make sense? I think that's how my brain's working, but really it genuinely could be anybody. I could have already missed one of the sabotages that the mole's already done, and I haven't even picked up on it yet. So that does bring us to the very, very last section. The last section was just the paintball guns, but the paintball guns only had 10 shots. The people on these guns were Ryan, Niche, and Jennifer. And then there was Diana, who was like the surveillance person. She did a good job. I do not think that there's much suspicion on her, in my opinion, at the moment. But honestly, we're just not sure at this point in time. We're just not sure. So interesting things that I noticed here. Jennifer, despite only having 10 shots, was kind of rapid firing her shots, which seemed like a poor use of them, which was interesting. But then she did manage to catch somebody. Then I think Niche managed to capture 1 or 2, and then he ran out of bullets, and I was like, okay. And then Ryan had 1 shot left, and she managed to pick off the final person, the final intruder, meaning that essentially they all survived the challenge, and they won, was it 20k? I think it was. So by the end of the first mission, they made $30,000 already at the end of the first episode. Not even at the end of the first episode. Halfway through the first episode, That's kind of crazy. So I don't feel like the mole was in the last team, because I feel like the last team did a lot of the heavy lifting, getting out those final 4 intruders. It would have been really easy for the mole to muck something up and be like, oh, we lost the money, guys. Oh, no, what a shame. Because they only got the money if Niche stayed in the game. So I just have a feeling that Niche, Jennifer, and Ryan, they're just not giving me mole vibes currently. So the next challenge that they were given was a pretty interesting one. It wasn't anything crazy like the paintball match. It was a simple choose 3 people that you consider the most trustworthy players. Send them to the phone booth and they will be given a choice. They'll be given the choice of choosing the group and adding $5,000 to the prize pot, or choosing themselves and allowing themselves to get an extra mark on the quiz at the end of the night. It's a difficult one because the only way you can make the money is if all 3 people choose the money. It's the classic split or steal. If you split, everyone gets money. If you steal, then you get the advantage in something, and that is exactly what happened here. Tony, Mina, and Diana were the 3 chosen by the group, and I thought this was very interesting because they aren't necessarily giving me the most trustworthy energy at the moment. I think the most trustworthy person for me currently is Jennifer, and then I'd probably say it's Niche. I don't feel like Niche, as the mole, would want to muck up the game, or would, I don't know, maybe he would. Oh, you see how this show just kind of like makes you think about every little tiny little detail. It's quite literally as if we are playing a game of the Traitors and we're trying to work it out at the same time. That's how cool it is. So yeah, each of them had a choice to make. Tony chose the cash. Diana chose the cash. Mina chose the correction on the quiz. I felt like she was going to do that anyway, just the energy she was giving me. She was giving me, I need to make it through to the next round. It doesn't fill me with confidence that she lost the money. Could that have been a mole move? It might have been. But also, as the mole, you don't necessarily need a correction on the quiz because you know who the mole is. So you can answer 20 out of 20. You can get all the questions right. So really, it is an issue of, how much do you trust Muna in this game? And currently, I trust her a decent amount. I think she's alright. I don't feel like she's a traitor. She's not giving me the mole. I don't feel like she's the mole. She's not giving me mole energy. She's giving me gopher energy. I'm joking. It's funny. It's a joke, guys. It's a joke. So yeah, interesting. Muna decided to lie about it to the group as well, which again could prove that she's a mole, because I think if she was not a mole, she probably would have been honest about it and been like, I needed the correction, guys. I'm really sorry, but like, I needed that correction. I could have easily lied to you and said that I picked the cash, but I didn't. I was honest. I think that would have made me go, yeah, she's definitely fine. Whereas now she's on my radar. She's on my radar. Tony also had a Freudian slip where he basically said, oh yeah, I chose the correction. And then he was like, wait, no, I meant I chose the cash. And everyone was like, oh, whoa. So yeah, not ideal from his point of view, but still an interesting debacle nonetheless. So that led us on to the quiz. The quiz was over pretty quickly and it left us with 3 people, which was where the cliffhanger got us. Niche, Jennifer, and Diana are in danger of going home. One of those 3 has the lowest score on the quiz and therefore will be leaving. I am thinking it might be Jennifer, purely because I have a feeling that Jennifer is genuine and she's not the mole. So I feel like she might have been the one to go. The other 2 I've got question marks around. But let's actually talk about who my prime suspects are at the end of this episode. My friend said that her prime suspects are Andy and Ryan. Ryan, because she feels like she might have been a little bit too good at the paintball game to try and throw everyone off the scent. And Andy, because he could have easily been missing those shots with the sniper and blaming it on the people who were sort of like moving him around. I thought that it could be Sean because he was in the first group with the paintballs, not the paintballs, the slingshots. And I also said it could be Deanna. I know I've said throughout the episode I don't think it's her, but I'm also just like, it very much could be her, and she's just playing a really good game at this point in time. She said earlier that she was a web sleuth, which I didn't even think was a job, but apparently it is. So she's got all the sort of what's the word I'm looking for? She's got all the skills needed to be a mole and lie and etc etc. But I don't know whether she has it in her to do that. I don't know. I don't. I don't think she would have been as vocal with the surveillance if she was actually the mole. We both said Melissa. There's a couple of question marks around Melissa purely because we just didn't see a lot from her in this episode. I think we saw like a couple of confessionals and that was about it. So there really is nothing to go off of with her because she easily could be the mole and they're just sort of editing her to look like a background character at the moment, and then further down the line she'll become main character. I don't know, but there are definitely some question marks around her. But that is all we've got time for today. Interesting. There are people that I'm convinced aren't the mole, but obviously episode on episode it's going to change. With every single challenge and every single move that's made, it's going to make some people look more or less like a mole, and therefore it's going to be harder and harder to tell what's a genuine sabotage and what are people sabotaging to look suspicious to throw other people off the scent. It's so difficult, this game. But join me. No spoilers, guys. No spoilers. I've seen up to episode 3. I know episode 5 is out. And then episode 6 and 7 next Friday, etc, etc. But no spoilers, please. For the love of God. Please. So, thank you guys very, very much for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, doing all those YouTube things that you guys do so well. And I will see you guys later. Keep on ranting. Bye now.